Hi everyone, this is 99 Media, and we have the honor to have, we are two Italian guys, but my English is very bad. Clara's English is perfect. And what we are showing today is one of the few very good news that we have from the center of the empire, because Clara started a new center, the name is Center for Heterodox Economics, in the University of Tulsa, that as the name is a center for heterodox economy. So I'll show you the web page, and I wanted Clara to present this project because have a center to talk about radical alternative economic theories and analysis is something very important, especially today after the election of Trump as a president. Please, Clara.
Thank you so much, Giuliano. It's a real pleasure. Yeah, the CE is at once a political and a cultural project. And ultimately, the idea is that you cannot really divide the two. So in my role as an economist, academic, what I can offer in the function of transforming the society away from the oppression and the exploitation of the current moment is indeed to say we need ideas that can propel a transformative activity. And this is why the CE is basically working on a double yet organically connected task. The first one is to propose to students and young generations that are very much fed up with the current socioeconomic system, alternative lenses through which to look at the world. Many of the young generations are alienated by studying a lot of the social sciences, especially economics, because they feel that economics does not speak to the issues they face daily when they try to really cope with with capitalism, even in the center of it, like the United States, right? So the idea here is to offer the heterodox perspectives, not just the dominant one that is everywhere in a micro and macro textbook and presented as a dogma as the only possible truth. Rather, we're saying, no, actually neoclassical economics, that is the orthodoxy right now, has a history that is a history, by the way, very much complicit with plenty of authoritarian governments, starting from Benito Mussolini's fascism, which is in a way my own research that I developed in my book, The Capital Order, all the way to current forms of authoritarianism. So neoclassical economics has definitely done a bad job in explaining what the problems for people are, and has done a really good job at justifying the system by fundamentally avoiding to explain it and supporting harsh austerity policies. There are alternatives out there. They're not mentioned very often. Students rarely know about it, but they exist. And this is a role played by other traditions that have been expelled from academia, starting from the institutionalist tradition, the Marxian tradition, the Sraffian tradition, the post-Keynesian tradition, and many others that really say we should focus on the real, on how capitalism ultimately works in a very violent way to accumulate ever more resources in this polarizing way. And I remind everyone of the latest Oxfam data that came out just last week that tells you that while the richest are accumulating $2,000 million, so actually it was $3 trillion just in the last year, multiplying the quickedness of this accumulation since the year before. We have a situation with which the poverty rates have barely budged. And in the United States, 52% of families who are not able to meet their basic needs in the heart of the colonial West. So you can imagine how the rest is doing. So this is why we need economics that can explain why inequality is structural to capitalism, for example, and many other issues that are completely absent from mainstream economics. On the other hand, we're also trying to build a space for collective participation in increasing the economic agency that people have, telling people, come together once a month. We will discuss topics that are relevant for you through the eyes, not just of the elite academic, but also of organizers who are actually on the ground and, in the struggle against the carceral state, for example, and against the profits made by, for example, the real estate housing that is evicting so many people. So these are topics that we will be proposing. The first public speaker series Giuliano is showing us is actually with Rick Wolf, who many of you probably know, wonderful economist, and Kalia Kuno, who's actually a organizer with Cooperative Jackson. We will be speaking about worker self-management as an alternative to exploitation. And we will have a lot more topics connecting racial segregation to class segregation, very hot in Tulsa, climate crisis, the permanent militarism of capitalism, and so on and so forth. So these are the two projects. I think they go well together. You can't have one without the other. I'm sick of the elitism of academia. And I also think that struggles on the ground need to be reunited. And that's what we're going to try to do. There are already a lot of stuff happening already here. We're not trying to say we are discovering it all. We're just saying we can serve as a hub to connect people that are already in the struggle and perhaps empower them with ideas that can help their struggle move forward.
And okay, let's also talk about the inaugural event, that is the first appointment.
Thank you. Yes, that would be great. So we are having our inauguration next week, exactly a week from today. That is Thursday, and it's going to be Thursday, 6, 7, and 8 of February. And this is a kind of an experiment of what we want to do. We have both organizers and academics join. We have big names of very important critical economists, from Jamie Galbraith to Kostas Lapavitsas to Robert Brenner, Carolina Alves, and many other who talking about topics that are hot for the present. Let's say my favorite topic that we'll be discussing is definitely the political economy of occupied Palestine. We have a very, very high level panel there. We will have also an event, for example, on the exploding crisis of care and climate with under capitalism, and much else. So as you see here, it's both an attempt to do academic work, but academic work that is relevant for understanding the present and guiding the future. It's open. It's going to be online. You can come physically to Tulsa and enjoy some food, or just join online on our YouTube channel. If you search Center for Heterodox Economics Tulsa, you can find our website and also the links.
And last question is, how in this particular period, 1 week after the official starting of the Trump administration, do you see any more space for radical thoughts inside academia, and the connection between academia and real movements that can change what the left has done in the last 20 years, that is just being the softer way of imposing neoliberal policies in the US and all around the world?
Yeah, the thing is that the left in academia mirrors a lot of the problems of the left in the political establishment, right? And actually, this is what's the problem, is that many lefty academics are ultimately propelling viewpoints that alienate people, right? The elitism, it's so entrenched in the academic world, even amongst those who, think they are doing something for people. So I think the idea is that we need first to change ourselves as academics and say we need a completely different model of what a center can look like. And this will, I hope, then help accelerate what is already a tendency, and hopefully strengthen this tendency of people seeing the bullshit, right? Like actually the revelation of the bullshit, which is so obvious already Biden had tripled between 2021 and 2023 the absolute child poverty rates that are now 16% in the United States. Okay, it was tripled by Biden, who had like eliminated federal help on the poor, such as the child tax credit. Trump is just bringing this to its extreme by saying, no, the executive power will take over and just abolish even what is in line with the Constitution, right? The freeze of all the federal loans right now that are going to, I think, not really stop. They're paused, but they won't stop. And they've declared it. And the idea is to dismantle Medicaid, to dismantle food stamps, to dismantle all forms of help for the needy in this country. And the help was already very little. So the idea then of regressive taxation, the whole austerity trinity that I've worked on in my own research is on the floor, including a tax on organized labor, dismantlement of the public system. He pressured 2 million workers to resign voluntarily before he will fire them, right? So this is the climate we're in. There's an attack on immigrants, on the poor families. They're deporting en masse, and we know it all. In the meantime, there's a support for the settler colonial project in Palestine that is not stopping. So here is where I think there's a space to tell people, you know what? It's not the Democrats, it's not the Republicans. We need to think larger, we need to think bigger, and we need to appropriate ideas that can put people first, not the systemically corrupt establishment. And I stress systemically because it's not the individual who's corrupt, it's not Donald Trump who's the problem. It's what Donald Trump represents and the power structure that he is basically the exponent of. And this was also already true for Kamala Harris and for many others. So this is where I think academics have to be courageous and stop just enjoying their privilege and say, you know what, we need to take our responsibility and unite people for a world that either we change or is not sustainable any longer.
That's okay. And I mean, this is just the start of our collaboration. We will promote and make contents together monthly, I guess, and following the monthly initiatives that the center will organize. The first one, we repeat, is with Richard Wolff the next month. And
Yes.
not the next month, on March, the next month is
Yes.
the inauguration of the center. So this is just a first time, and
Exactly.
we will see you soon and again and again. So thank you, Clara.
So much more. Yes, thank you so much. And please join our conference online if you can't come physically. Thank you so much.
And you'll find all the information in the infos in the description of the videos below. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.